Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I would like to discuss, on an emergency basis, a national emergency that is actually playing out right now. Sunday night, from the point of view I'm doing this, most unexpectedly, but of course it had to be the video that came out first thing for the Monday. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So basically the UK is, Britain at any rate, is a little bit cut off. So as the evening has gone on, so there were countries that were closing their borders to people travelling from the UK. And then, mid-evening, France announced that it was going to be the latest one for 48 hours to cut off all travel from the UK to France. That, of course, means all the lorries carrying freight, and in the reverse as well. In theory, lorries can travel from France into the UK. Two problems with that, though. First of all, if there are massive delays one way, it gums up the works the other way as well. And secondly, you're basically saying to these lorry drivers who may be, based in Europe, maybe French lorry drivers, you may not be able to get back because this is 48 hours for now. Could become more permanent. I suspect it won't, for a reason I will go over, but that's the situation they put themselves into. Wouldn't you, if you're going to be told it's okay, you can go into the UK, but you may not be able to come back for well, you're certainly not going to be able to come back for at least 2 days. It may be longer. How long is it going to take to clear the backlog as well? Businesses are going mad, particularly businesses that ship fresh food into the EU, because their lorries are now stuck. They're not getting anywhere. Their produce is going to be no good when it eventually does get through. There may be others that are transporting goods that may be of no use. They arrive too late, that sort of thing. All the stuff we were worried about with Brexit, all the stuff that Boris Johnson said he had a plan for, we're going to find out this morning from your point of view, because he's hosting an emergency Cobra meeting. Of course, this is an emergency. Our supply lines are actually literally cut off. There's no hyperbole about this. Our supply lines are at the moment, right now, cut off. Our neighbours have banned all travel from Britain into their lands. That's Ireland, France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, even saw Israel at one point. Several countries by country. The EU are going to have an emergency meeting. And what has caused this? It's all down. It's not down to the new variant of the COVID virus, because that's what will be being reported. It's not actually that. It's Boris Johnson talking about it. We had the announcement on Saturday from Boris Johnson saying we need to tighten our COVID restrictions. We need to create this new tier 4, which is basically a lockdown for a load of people, and we need to scale back the Christmas plans. Now, the reason why he's had to implement this is because his handling of the pandemic has been woeful from start to finish. He always makes decisions too late. This tighter restrictions decision should have been made much sooner, and it was not. Does he admit the reason we're having to do this now is because I did not act robustly enough earlier? No, he doesn't want to admit blame. So he wants to blame the virus. Oh, it's this new variant. I mean, that's not my fault. This new mutant variant appeared and it's sweeping through the south of England. Not my fault. And people won't blame him for that. But here's the problem. He's now created this idea that there's this new strain of the virus which is up to, according to the government, 70% more likely to be transmitted. 70% more. In other words, if someone has this, they are 70% more likely to infect others with it. And he's blaming that on this sharp upturn in the number of new cases. What did that do? Initially, the panic started in the UK, in London. On Saturday night, you saw people fleeing London because they were about to enter these restrictions. But really what it was mostly about was people fearing, oh, there's this horrendous new strain. We don't want to be here if we can possibly be somewhere else. So they all, try to flee. And now that hysteria effectively has spread to other countries, because there's other countries that are also struggling with their second wave. France, for example, had a horrendous second wave. It's still in the second wave, but it's massively improved on where it was. They've brought the rate right down, but the rate is still high. It's now not as high as it is in the UK. It was much higher. But it is still high. They can't take any chances. These other countries that have made this decision, Austria, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Republic of Ireland, cannot take any chances. They are already struggling. The last thing they need is a new strain of the virus that is much more transmissible. And according to Boris Johnson, because he's not published the real data, according to him, this thing can cause your number of new cases to absolutely skyrocket. So they've taken him at his word and shut off the UK. Just close their borders. Oh yeah, by the way, EU member states can close off their borders to others within the area, because that's the thing. Remember, they closed off borders to each other during the first wave. But the serious issue is here, I'm thinking, that's probably all this is. Boris Johnson has basically cut off our supply lines to save his own ego. I think that's what's potentially happened here. Now, I can't know. Maybe this new virus is absolutely spreading like wildfire. But think about what that means. That means that, say France, for example, have made the decision to shut that border for 48 hours. That's so they can consider the situation. They don't want a scenario where they go, well, let's find out the facts and then decide, because by then, if the facts dictated that you should have shut the border, it's like locking the stable door after the horse has bolted. If this strain is as bad as Boris Johnson's saying and he allows it into France, too late to do anything then, isn't it? So that's what they're doing. I strongly suspect at the end of this, it will have to be revealed that Boris Johnson was bigging up the extent to which this new variant is contributing to what we are seeing, which is how the second wave peak came down and then shot straight back up again. In reality, if you look at it, what caused it to shoot back up again was the end of lockdown into inadequate tier restrictions. That's what's caused it. But the end result of his hubris, his refusal to accept that what he did, whether inadvertently or not, was not quite good enough and he has to tighten it up. If he'd have just said that, then there may not have been this panic from our neighbours. But they have had to look at the situation and go, well, just in case he's telling the truth, we're shutting up shop. And that's going to have a devastating effect. Even 2 days. Remember, Dominic Raab, the current Foreign Secretary, he was Brexit Secretary very briefly before he decided he was too useless at it. And he said something very famous at the time. He said that he had not fully appreciated just how reliant we are upon the Dover-Calais crossing. So that's an arch Brexiteer admitting, when was it? 2018, maybe the end of 2018, that we are utterly reliant upon the Dover-Calais crossing. Utterly reliant. It's shut now. It's completely closed off. Completely closed off. And this Cobra meeting that Johnson's having this morning, they're going to have to sort all this out there. First of all, if what these other countries, if they made their decisions based on Boris Johnson overhyping this strain, they're going to have to be able to persuade them that actually he was exaggerating it to save his own skin domestically. And he's going to have to clear the lorries from Kent. You can't just leave them there for 2 more days. Imagine what the tailbacks are going to be like in 2 days, and then imagine how long it's going to take to clear them. And bear in mind, some of those lorries are carrying stuff that there's no point in them completing their journey. In 2 days' time, it's worthless. I saw a company that exports langoustines. They're not going to be fit. No one's going to want to buy those in 2 days' time. They've been stuck in a lorry for 48 hours. No, that's not going to be fit for eating. So there's some of those, they're going to have to manage that situation. In the meantime, remember, it's peak time for lorries to be passing to and fro. We are reliant upon imports for food and medicines. We're delaying 2 days there. And that's assuming we can persuade them to lift those restrictions within 2 days. And we are going to be royally boned by this. And if anything, so if there's any silver lining to this, all I can think at the moment, the thing that just keeps flashing in my head is Maybe it will show people what we are deliberately doing to ourselves with Brexit. You know, we may see that as a result of this, we've given ourselves a break in the supply lines for 2 days. What about doing this sort of thing on a more sort of regular basis? And maybe it will scare enough Tory MPs into demanding of Boris Johnson that actually he concludes the deal with the EU so that we limit the damage as much as possible for January the 1st. Remember, damage is going to be caused because we're still exiting the customs union. Unless, of course, it panics the government so much and the Conservatives so much that they actually say, we're not ready for this, we cannot cope with this, and yet we're going to do something on, you know, the same sort to ourselves next week that will also last the week after and the week after and the week after that. Maybe we should extend the transition period in some way. That's the only silver line I see from this. But right now, yes, an absolute emergency. This is why my original videos, I was thinking to myself, right, well, what's out for 6 o'clock? Well, that can stay on. Maybe I'll do this for midday. And it just got more and more serious. And now you just look at the situation, you just think, we're cut off. We're actually cut off completely. We're an island with no transport links at the moment in order to get food and medicines to us. And it's going to be a big mess to clear up as well. Because how on earth do you clear up that many lorries and divert the lorries to prevent them clogging it up even more? A major logistical task. It will be an excellent test of just how prepared we are for what is to come in just over a week's time. But those are my thoughts. Naturally, there's bound to be updates at some point, probably tomorrow. Let me know yours in the comments below, particularly if you've been personally affected. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.